Sup Shredders, my name is Logan aka Spiderhands and welcome to an SP Reviews where today I'll be checking out a track from an act named Jeremy Lau titled MM7. And if we switch over to here, I am reviewing this track on behalf of Sora as part of a Ko-fi commission. Usually these SP reviews go through the Fiverr page, but I've decided to open up the Ko-fi commissions for people who have favorite songs that they'd like me to review. So if you are interested in getting one of your favorite songs reviewed, you are more than welcome to go for the Ko-fi link in the description. Thanks as well to Sora for providing lyrics translations for this track, but we're going to be listening through it from start to finish. We're going to hear what we think. Let's go. It's hella groovy off the bat with the drums and quite a lot to appreciate off the bat, eh? There's just such a wonderful array of different instruments so far with the strings, the synths, the bass, guitar, drums, etc. There's just so much. And it just all sounds really good and amalgamates nicely together, with the vocals being the icing on the cake. Parallel major. Great substitute lead with the guitarist here with the bluesy phrasings. I like the portamento on those higher synths. How they slide into each other is fantastic as well. I mean, the jazzy undertones are scintillating, aren't they?
Come on.
Really committing to that swing there. Bit of scat. Wasn't expecting to go electro house for the last little part here for the key change. No, that was fantastic. We're not resolving it, are we? That's a hell of an outro, man. Oh, this is an intriguing track. I'm looking forward to learning more on what the lyrics. So apparently in English, this is delightful, laboriously narrating my life and death, 7-day long holiday, karma and consequences. So this is about finding love within yourself and like kind of really trying to find security within that and not needing to find it through others and the monodrama that is life. Oh, okay, I think I get it. And welcome to the conclusion of my review of this track from an act named Jeremy Lau, titled MM7 or Delightful. Now, what do I think this track is about? I think it's talking about how we live our lives and we often try and find happiness within other things external to us. Like we're constantly searching for it. And it's almost like we're suggesting that we need to sort of find happiness and peace within ourselves to grow and develop so that we know what kind of life we want. And then when we get there, we can then go, oh, okay, we now know what we want. And you can easily sort of tick the stuff off that you need. I think that the different styles of music that we had, like the funky intonations, then like the smooth sort of jazz stuff, and then going to the electro synth stuff, it's kind of like trying to dedicate it to different phrases that Jeremy Lau was going through with what they were discussing and commiserating on. And the story is interesting. I like the use of imagery, like with the earthquakes and all that kind of stuff we mentioned later on, how we were trying to sort of fulfill ourselves. And it's very down to earth and accessible. And I think that it'll appeal to a lot of people because after all, who isn't able to sort of improve if they look at themselves in the mirror, right? At least it's a conversation that I think everyone needs to have, is to look yourself in the mirror and figure out what's going on. But Jeremy Lau's vocals are phenomenal. He had great control of the head and chest voice, very expressive, lots of different ways of, like interpreting the lyrics. And I think they served the themes and such very well. The use of falsetto and head voice with the harmonies and melodies and the hook, in comparison to like the sort of cool and calm collected cool, like come on part with the smooth jazz again, the interlude section before the final hook. There's more sort of conversational parts there, other parts in that sort of chest voice, very comfortable there with a sense of warmth. Ultimately, there were even some very sort of soft, scintillating bits there where we kind of played around with the there was some a cappella parts, some sort of scat bits there, all types. It's a very varied music performance here with a musician who is clearly very comfortable in their own skin, able to sort of easily, meticulously cover a wide range of different influences, showing what people, basically trying to find a way of showcasing what they're capable of, while also serving the expectations of their listeners with the types of music they're including. And I don't think there was a weak point. It was really well done, very emotive, very theatrical, dramatic, and I kind of enjoyed that. I like that sense of drama and tune. It makes it more interesting and engaging, The track at 4 minutes it's wonderful. It's really great use of time. We had a wide range of different sort of like instruments involved in this. There were some lead sections interspersed with like verses and choruses and complete vibe shifts and a key change outro at the end with a different sort of style included there. We had sort of like changes in pace there with some double time stuff, half time stuff, and normal time. The grooves and rhythms were infectious and anthemic alongside everything else. Tremendous use of a fundamental understanding of music theory and composition with the way that we sort of like featured not only like the traditional major and minor parts, we modulated between different parts of the scale shape, but also had some parallel majors and minors there, explored the root notes and scales incredibly well and sort of broke some of the rules in a way that was very beneficial for the overall experience. A mixture of triads and extensions there, really adept with the use of the keys and the guitar playing, the lead playing. If I talk about a few of the instruments, I think that with the transitions between the various elements being so clean, it was just nice for the guitar to be sort of another form of lead as a foil to Jeremy's main vocals. They had these bluesy, funky intonations there, very comfortable with independent tonic shapes there, great use of slides and hammer-ons and bends and such like that. It was very present and very soulful, and whenever they weren't coming in there, I think we had some sort of bar chord kind of seventh extensions there on the sides that were recorded as a nice contrast texturally to that again, and that was very sophisticated sounding. It definitely wasn't sleeping on the strings. With the strings, of course, being in the mid to high range there, adding a bit of sort of like the late 20th century soulish kind of oral aesthetic there, and really creating a sense of wonderment with it and a romanticism almost. The synths that we had were tremendous choices. We had some pads, but most importantly, I think the ones that really sort of sold me were the higher leads in the chorus with the portamento, the smoothness between notes there, how they kind of flew like graceful little birds going through the sky there, added a sense of magic and whimsy to it. And I cannot emphasize how much I adore that. I think that it's such a cute tone that adds a sense of innocence to a piece that's otherwise very kind of on the nose. The bass guitar is funky as hell throughout, you know. They are comfortable with the bass notes and root notes, you know, a little bit of exploration to the fretboard, not trying to overstep or overplay. The keys were wonderful as well, a nice bit of articulation on the right hand, exploring the scale shapes as a nice foil to the vocal melodies and harmonies, as well as the guitar parts and everything, just basically further enhancing those progressions there. There was a little bit of solo work occasionally, but they weren't as dominant as the guitar leads, and they served their purpose well. Finally, the drums were magnificent, really well played, great sense of pace to them, explored the kit really well. No weak spots, no missed notes, no missteps. Great sense of pace with the tempo. It was just on point, very competent percussionist. Every single instrumentalist within this act knew exactly what they were doing and played a really wonderful, organic, believable performance. But just the wonderful use of different styles within the grooves and sort of cymbal-focused kick and snare parts as well. Maybe some brushes occasionally. A little bit of sort of fill work, but dominant on the chord note and offbeat accents, and just really stunning. Overall, the track sounded like, I don't know if it necessarily sounded like what the story was about, but I think it was intended to be sort of like a catchy sort of anthem that I suppose if you understood what the track was about, or you were able to sort of like latch on to that, almost like we're going on this magical adventure through our own life and trying to figure out our sort of sense of self-worth. It was one of those situations where I think it was more for the vibe than a literal sort of like attachment to trying to make it sort of like too on the nose with the theme. I think that it nonetheless worked. It carried the grace of the vocals of everything else really well. It was a complicated arrangement and composition, with the theme being, you know, I suppose at the very least, as someone who couldn't understand the language without translations, it made it seem like we were going on some sort of a bigger sort of overall arcing topic than like something more sort of like basic. And I think that considering what we're discussing, that makes sense. At the least, again, it sounded like a journey with the different style shapes and the transitions we went on, being invited with that part for the last sort of chorus, that like, intro break, and it was good. It was well done. The theme was even if I didn't necessarily understand a connection between the lyrics and the theme, it is nonetheless very well played. The studio recording, mixing and mastering is commercial grade. Absolutely no qualms or quandaries about that at all. Nothing but love for the effort put into the vocal presence, the various recordings of the instruments there, the way they were notched in the frequency spectrum, no resonant frequencies, nice and wide in the sort of stereo field there. There was some nice little whooshes when things came up and then went down there. The music surrounded you and you were enveloped in it. There was a lot of dynamic range, though, especially near the end with those little those words at the end, like the kind of the barbershop-ish kind of tone from the different takes there. Very explorative and well thought out. And they didn't overprocess the performance or like minimize it. It carried a great sense of longevity there, and it sounds like it's timeless. It was nice and low without pumping, so the bus compression and limiting was handled. And again, I know I may be repeating myself at this point, but specifically the vocals, I just think they sounded incredible. Clearly, Jura is a really fantastic singer, and it's just so good that we didn't feel the need to try and sterilize it by adding too much to it to color or mask it. Ultimately, this is my review of this track from an actor named Jeremy Lau titled MM7, and hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, please go check him out via their various social medias and their YouTube page, and stay cool and stay safe, and please remember to support your local musicians and artists at this point in time, as they either help more than ever thought of crazy stuff going on in the world, and I'll catch you in the next review. Spiderhands out.